Hey everybody, welcome back around to the Blog and Drill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for September 8th, 2014. Great blog planned for you today as we get into some of the college football. Big news out of the NBA, another owner possibly selling his team. Hunt for October, college football, and NASCAR. So let's get to it. Picks over the weekend were not very strong. College football, I went 1-4, taking me to 3-7 overall. NFL picks not good either. I finished up the weekend at 2-3. So don't be betting and don't be coming after me if you had some rough picks. As we'll do every Monday, we're going to go around the Shield and we'll talk about the biggest upset of the weekend. So this is a quick 2 minutes as we break down most of the games and go right around the league. So let's get to it. Cincinnati has a solid first half. Baltimore rallies in the second half, but Cincinnati closes it out strong. Cincinnati beats the Ravens 23-16. Carolina, Cam Newton doesn't start. Derek Anderson performs well as Carolina takes down Tampa Bay 20-14. San Francisco gets off to a quick start against Dallas. Tony Romo struggles as the 49ers beat the Cowboys 28-17. Atlanta stuns the Saints. Matt Ryan throws for over 440 yards, and Atlanta gets the big win 37-34. Minnesota, behind an impressive performance from Cordarrelle Patterson and from Matt Castle, they get it done 34-6 as Sean Hill goes down with an injury for the Rams. Pittsburgh blows a big first half lead but holds on with a late field goal by Swisham to beat the Browns 30-27. Jacksonville went up 17-0 on Philly. Philly scores 34 unanswered as they win the game 34-17. Jets win a close one against Oakland as Geno Smith performs pretty well in a 19-14 win. Buffalo stuns the Bears on the road. Buffalo gets the big win 23-20 in overtime. Ryan Fitzpatrick serviceable in his first start for the Houston Texans. He gets it done over Robert Griffin III 17-6. Tennessee very solid. Jake Locker looked good. Tennessee gets the win 26-10. Miami, Cameron Wake gets a late sack and a forced fumble on Tom Brady. Dolphins upset the Patriots 33-20. And in the Sunday night game, Peyton Manning looked good. Andrew Luck tries to rally the troops late, but Denver picks up the win 31-24. Alright, so let's get to it. What was the biggest upset of the weekend? We had Atlanta over New Orleans. We had Buffalo over Chicago. We had Miami over New England, and I think it's going to be that Miami-New England game. I thought Miami would really struggle. They looked pretty good. Their defense was pretty solid. Got to Brady. I think Brady will be better in the next couple of weeks as he gets more reps with Gronkowski. But the Dolphins look good. I still think they're not going to make the playoffs and win about 6 games. We'll see what they do. They might be a little bit better than I thought. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this team. And it was an exciting week, first week of football. We'll talk more about it soon. But a lot of players played well. Guys stepped up. Matt Ryan looked good. And it was a good week. So we'll talk about it more as we move on through the week. The big news out of the NBA yesterday, Bruce Levenson, the owner of the Atlanta Hawks, is allegedly putting his team up for sale following an email that was sent more than 2 years ago. A racially insensitive email written by Levenson more than 2 years ago came to light only after his co-owners called for an investigation. So his co-owners are turning him in to the GM, Danny Ferry. And basically, the email which was sent to Ferry and copied to several of Levenson's partners had numerous comments that could be considered racist when discussing the atmosphere at Hawks games. Okay, this is what, some of this was just disgusting, some of the stuff he said. I think it's interesting that he came out with it by himself. And it's going to be interesting once again if this guy, through this, can make money off this team. We saw it with Donald Sterling. The sale of the team increased by almost $1 billion. The value, not even the value of the team, just the selling price of the team increased by pretty much $1 billion over a week when the scandal hit. Makes you wonder what's going on with Levenson, why maybe he thought, okay, if I just come out, maybe I can get this team sold, not as much media, not as much slamming, and still make that profit. So we'll see what happens with this. This is going to be an interesting story to watch as now, following the Donald Sterling case, we're starting to see some more dominoes fall. And it's similar to what we saw with the Jerry Sandusky case. Once that came out, then we had the Bernie Fine case come out. Then we had a lot of other cases of this stuff coming out. Even Mike Rice at Rutgers basketball with the bullying. Okay, the stuff comes out about these guys. Videos available. People know stuff. And once one guy falls, the dominoes fall right behind him. Okay, and we thought we'd see more of this come out. More of it is coming out. And we're going to keep an eye on it as the story develops. NASCAR, the chase is set. The NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup has now been set, and we are ready for the chase. The top seed in the chase will be Brad Keselowski. He picked up the win on Saturday night in Richmond. The two guys that got in, Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman, they will be in the chase as the last two drivers. The new format is going to be very interesting to watch. It pretty much breaks it down into some sections of 3 races where they keep shrinking down the field. It's going to be interesting to watch for sure. Really the key is you got to come out and get a win. I think it will benefit some guys because if you have a bad week at Chicagoland in the first week, you can come back, win at New Hampshire, and still get into that second round. So that's going to be fun to watch. Get a win, and you're in, and you're moving on. The rest of the guys fall in with points. I think the favorite going into this has to be the 2 top guys in the chase that are running the best. Jeff Gordon, 17 top 10s. That's best in NASCAR this year. And if I had to pick a dark horse, I think Jeff and Brad are the 2 big guys. But if I had to pick a dark horse, a guy who's run really well, Matt Kenseth, sitting there at 14th in points, just has had some bad luck in some races. But if this guy can get a couple of wins, this guy's going to be dangerous going throughout the chase. So he's kind of my dark horse to watch as we get into the chase. Of course, the first week of the chase will be at Chicagoland next Sunday at 1 o'clock, so definitely tune in for that. Major League Baseball heating up, standings updates. Baltimore pretty much wrapping up that AL East 9.5 game lead. Kansas City still holding on in the Central with a 2-game lead over Detroit. The Angels are leading Oakland now by 7 games as they've just run away with that. 8-2 in their last 10. 2-8 is Oakland in their last 10, so they're really struggling. Washington, 7-game lead over Atlanta. A lot of these playoff races are not going to be tight coming down the stretch. St. Louis, 4.5-game lead over Pittsburgh, and really the closest race I see here outside of the Central is the West with the Dodgers and the Giants. So now we head to the wild card standings, and Yankees still sitting 4.5 back. Oakland and Seattle currently have the playoff spots. Detroit and Cleveland a half game back and 3.5 back. Yankees 4.5 back. And in the West, San Francisco and Pittsburgh now has that second wild card spot with Atlanta and Milwaukee just a half game back. And if I had to pick 2 teams right now, one from each division that I would say is the best team in that league, I'm going the Angels in the American League. The Angels are playing very strong baseball right now, getting really good pitching. They have a solid lineup. We'll see what they can do with this team right now. I think has to be the favorite to represent the American League in the World Series. And in the National League, there's a lot of interesting teams, but one team that I really like are the St. Louis Cardinals. I think we could see a Cardinals-Angels World Series as the Cardinals are playing some very solid ball right now. I think the Dodgers might have not quite enough experience. I like the bullpen of the Cardinals a little bit better than the bullpen of the Dodgers, and I also like that Yadier Molina is back and healthy. All right, let's talk college football. The Big Ten, are they out of the playoff? I think they are. We saw 2 of the Big Ten teams fall, and this is really not good for the Big Ten. Michigan State falls to Oregon, and Ohio State falls to Virginia Tech, which makes that game Michigan State-Ohio State really a non-factor when that game comes down to it. If I had to pick my playoff teams right now, my number 1 team is Florida State, Oregon 2, Alabama 3, and my number 4 team is Auburn. I like Auburn above Oklahoma, and if I had to pick my 3 that are just on the outside looking in, it's Oklahoma at 3, or Oklahoma at 5, Georgia at 6, and USC after that impressive win where their defense looked great against Stanford. They right now are my 3rd team just outside looking in. The team I'm still not buying is Texas A&M. Kenny Hill's look good. Not buying them yet. They're going to have to prove a little bit more to me. They were getting first place votes last week, and that is just bizarre for a team that was ranked 22nd at the beginning of the season. So I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm going to give you my Heisman update I'm also going to talk some MLB. We'll talk Thursday Night Football as we have Pittsburgh and Baltimore. That'll be my first pick of the weekend. Just want to give a shout-out to Bob Heron. This guy on YouTube has been giving me some junk about my Josh Gordon talk. Thanks for the comments, man. Thanks for the support of the blog. Thanks for giving me the views. That's all I'm going to say about that. Also, follow me on sportsmindednews.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, YankeeBaller415. Comment, question, subscribe to my page. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog Game Drill. I'll be back on Wednesday. Have a good start to your week.